Bill McLaughlin. I got an official, little mask for him. We've got our Ram Dome. Kudos and shout out to my husband, Frank. Michael Jordan and Larry Bird have something in common with all of you. Great work ethics. Those that want to be good are using their time wisely these days. The fact that you guys are here, trying to get new ideas, we're trying to think in some small way how we can give back. So this is our idea of how to get back. This is my baton. So back in the day, I was pretty good at it. But I want to thank you guys for coming on. I hope you grab a lot of great ideas. I think we have a lot of great presentations to share with you. I'll be sharing some things in between each of the speakers. I want to give a shout out to all my friends out there. Hi. I wish I could, but I'm so glad you're with me in a virtual way. So without further ado, we're going to get started. Our first two speakers, we have Nicole Munger and Allie Keller. Nicole came to us as a graduate of Michigan. She's a 1,000-point scorer. She's from the Philadelphia area, outside Philadelphia area. Has done a fantastic job in her position this year. Allie Keller came to us from Syracuse as a graduate manager. Again, did a great job filling some big shoes left by Claire Varnado. So I'm going to hand it over to them to talk about shooting and foul shooting. So over to you guys.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Coach. Just going to share my screen and show you guys this video. All right. So I'm going to get thank you for all joining this Coaches Clinic. As Coaches mentioned, my name is Nicole Munger, and I'm the Director of Recruiting and Player Personnel here at Fordham. Today I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite individual and team shooting drills, so I'm going to dive right in. The first drill I'm going to be sharing is called 7 and 11 shooting. It's a drill we use here at Fordham in our individual workouts to get the players 11 game-like and game-speed shots. So for this drill, you need a rebounder, a passer, a shooter, and 2 basketballs. So you're going to put 42 seconds on the clock, and if there's that's just to keep the player accountable to stay at a game-like pace. So the goal is to make 7 out of those 11 shots. This PDF is a little tough to see on your screen, but we've included it in the packet, and it'll be a little bit easier to read there. So I'm going to jump into the video to explain these 11 shots. So the first shot's going to be a driving kick, corner 3. And then he's going to rise back up to the wing, get a wing 3. The next shot's going to be a dribble handoff, slot 3. Then he's going to go into a flare 3. The next shot's going to replicate transition. So he's going to go touch that sideline and come back in and get another wing 3. And then the sequence is going to start back over just from the other corner this time. So he's going to get a driving kick, corner 3. Then he's going to rise back up to this wing and get a wing 3. Get a dribble handoff 3. Goes back into the flare. He's going to touch the sideline now, get that transition 3. And then this last 11th shot is going to be another driving kick, corner 3. So this is a great drill to get a lot of game speed, game-like shots up in a short amount of time. Our kids get really competitive, and they're always trying to beat their workout partner. So it can be a lot of fun, and it challenges them. As I mentioned, the goal for this drill is to make 7 out of 11 shots in those 42 seconds. All right, the next drill I'm going to share today is called 25 shooting. This is a great individual shooting drill we do in nearly all of our individual workouts. So to start, what you're going to do is you're going to need 1 minute on the clock. You're going to need a rebounder and a passer for this drill with 2 basketballs. So the shooter's going to choose one spot on the floor, and they're going to stay there for the full minute. So in this diagram, the spot that shooter chose was that right wing. So once time starts, the shooter is going to alternate between shooting 2 2s and 2 3s. So 2 2s, 2 3s, 2 2s, 2 3s, and so on for that full minute. The point system is that every 2-point make is worth 1 point, and every 3-point make is worth 2 points. And the goal for this drill is obviously 25 to get to that 25-point mark in 1 minute. This is a great drill to get a lot of reps, and it's very difficult to beat, so you have to be really, really accurate. It can be really challenging for even our best shooters. All right, the next drill I'm going to show is a drill called W shooting. This is the last individual drill I'm going to show, and then we're going to hop into some team drills. So W shooting is a drill that we use to help work on conditioning, and it helps the shooter build up some wind while staying focused to make some shots. So what you're going to do is you're going to put 1 minute on the clock, and the goal is to get 11 makes in that 1 minute. The drill requires just 1 ball and 1 rebounder. So the shooter's going to start on the elbow and shoot an elbow jump shot. And then immediately after that shot, turn and sprint to half court, touch half court and come back, and then shoot a middle of the free throw line jumper, and then sprint to half court and come back and shoot the opposite elbow jumper, and so on. So that pattern will continue for the full minute. So here's the video so we can see what it looks like at live speed. So shoot that elbow jumper, come back in, shoot that middle free throw line jumper, sprint back to half, shoot the opposite elbow jumper, again, sprint back to half. So this pattern continues for that full minute. So you're going elbow, middle of the free throw line, and elbow jumpers. And as I mentioned, that goal is 11 makes. All right, the next drill I'm gonna show is a team drill. And this drill is called Around the World Shooting. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna have to split your team into 2 different teams and send one group down to one basket and the other group down to the other basket. So these teams will need to fill all 7 spots on this court. Now, if you don't have enough players to fill all 7 spots, it's no problem. The players can just fill in once they finish their shot. So to start, the team needs to make the layup, the number 1 shot, and then once they make, they can go back. They can then go to the second make, which is the free throw, and then they have to go around and make the 5 threes from those spots. So the spot 3, spot 4, spot 5, spot 6, and spot 7. Now the caveat is if you miss a shot, so say you miss 5, you then need to go back to spot number 4. And if you miss 4, you would then need to go back to 3. But then if you make 3, you can continue. So the way we run this drill is we make it a 3-minute drill and see which team can get through the most. But another way to do it is just see who can get to that 7th spot first. So I'm going to show this video of our girls doing it. So here we go. We make that layup. We make the free throw. Now here comes the 3. So we make that corner 3, top of the key 3. So we missed this top of the key 3. Then we go back and make this wing 3, excuse me. Missed the wing 3, so then we have to go back to the corner. Make the corner 3. There we go. Make that wing 3. Make the top of the key 3. So we missed this wing 3, so we have to go back to the top of the key. Make that. Make the wing. And then make the corner. And you can see Big V right there goes in and starts right away, and they're getting to go again. Because like I said, we do this drill for 3 minutes. So see how many reps they can get. But that's a great drill. The girls, it's one of their favorite drills, and they have a lot of fun and get really competitive with it. All right, so the last drill I'm going to explain is called Syracuse shooting. It's another team shooting drill. So to start, you're going to need to put 6 minutes on the clock, and you're going to need someone to work the clock for the entire time because what's going to happen is you're going to have to hit the buzzer every 30 seconds. So you're going to have 2 separate teams again, 1 at each hoop, and both teams are going to have 2 basketballs. As I mentioned just a second ago, 6 minutes on the clock, in 30 seconds you'll need to buzz, and that's going to alert the kids to move spots. So to start, the kids are going to be shooting free throw line jumpers, 2s right here. And then at the 5:30 mark, they're going to move back and shoot 3s from the center, top of the key area. Then at the 5-minute mark, once the buzzer sounds, they're going to go to the right wing, and they're going to shoot 2s there. And then at the buzzer, they'll go make 3s. And then the next minute, they'll go to the right baseline, 2s, and then they'll go 3s. The next buzzer, they go to the left baseline, 2s, and then 3s. And then the left wing, 2s, 3s. And then for the last minute, you're going to finish at the top of the key. So our goal for this in that 6-minute drill is to get 120 makes. And just as a PSA for the video, I'm just going to show 2-point shots in an effort to save some time. But as I explained, we're going to alternate between 2s and 3s. So I'm going to get back into this video here. So here are the girls shooting the middle spot. So they go 2s and 3s. And then the second spot's that right wing. And you can see they're just hustling, getting the rebounds, getting back out to the next shooter, and just get a lot of reps. Go to the left baseline, the left wing. And then as I said, that last minute, they're gonna be finishing off at that top of the key spot. But this is a great drill. The girls love it. We do it every day before the day before games, and it's a lot of fun. It gets pretty competitive too. But that's all the shooting drills I have for you guys today. If you have any questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat. And next up is going to be Allie showing us some of our favorite free throw shooting drills.
Thanks, Munger. Great job. So as Coach mentioned, I'm Allie Keller. I'll be talking about the free throw shooting drills. Hope everybody's staying healthy and safe, and we appreciate everybody joining us today. Just waiting for Abigail to share the screen. While she's pulling that up. So we do free throw shooting drills at the end of every practice. And we do that for a couple reasons. One, to make sure that all the players are able to make free throws down the stretch and when they're tired. And also we throw in a little rivet there to make them think a little bit and get into a particular order. So Coach Gately will pick a word. Sometimes it's a general word like fighters, or sometimes it's an upcoming opponent like Dayton. And the team needs to order themselves in the order based on the number of letters that are in their first and last name. So you can see in the example there, in my first and last name, in the word fighter, there's 5 letters, and Coach Gately would then line up ahead of me because her name has 4 letters. And we give the kids about a minute to do so. So once we get into the drills, the first one we'll talk about is win the game. So we set the score at 50-50, and each player shoots 1 free throw. So a made free throw would be 1 point for the home team, and a missed free throw would be 2 points for the away team. Obviously, the goal is to finish winning. Sometimes we also will throw in a secret swisher. So that's a group of people, maybe it's the freshmen, maybe it's the captains or the seniors, and if they swish their shot, their score will count as 2 points for the home team instead of the typical 1. Sticking with the swishing theme, next drill is the swish drill. So again, players will line up in that order based on the number of letters in their number of letters in their name. Every player will take 2 free throws, and the goal is to get double the amount of points that there are people. So if we have 12 players on the team, the goal would be to get to 24 points. A swish, again, would be 2 points, and a made free throw that's not a swish would be 1 point. Finally, our standard free throws, we have 4 in a row. So we put 5 minutes on the clock. The goal is everyone makes 1 free throw, and the goal is to get 4 in a row. On a miss, the entire team runs it down and back, and then gets back into the order that they had before. So those are just kind of standard, everyone around the free throw line, but we also do have some conditioning-based free throw shooting drills. So we have the sprint jog free throw, and I think there's a diagram a little bit later in the packet to explain this. But we put about 2.5 minutes on the clock and work our way down to make this more and more challenging as the season progresses. And we have everyone wearing the same color penny. So we split the team into both sides of the court. This one, it doesn't matter who's on which end of the court. And the goal is to sprint the diagonals and jog the baselines. So while they're doing this, we have a coach on each basket helping rebound, and the players step up and take 2 free throws. So if you make both free throws, you would then flip your penny color. So we would have everyone start in white, and then you would flip to maroon when you make your 2 free throws. If you miss either the first or the second free throw, you do not flip your penny, and you continue back in sprinting and jogging. Every player continues to sprint and jog for the duration of the drill, and the goal is to have everyone flip their penny color before the end of it. So get a little run in while they're shooting. Last free throw drill that we do is jog free throws. So players will continuously jog the length of the court back and forth. Coach will call out a player to shoot a 1-and-1 on 1 basket, and the goal is to make 25 free throws. So obviously the faster you make the free throws, the less running that the kids have to do. With all of these, we will run based if we do not make the goal. So we would run the deficit there. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A. And thanks again for attending.
Hey guys, great job, Munger. Great job, Allie. One thing I do want to point out, guys, I mean, obviously the drills that we're showing, we feel have worked. I mean, this year we were #1 in the conference in 3-pointers made. So I'm a big believer of, you know, they have to do a lot of shooting on their own, and we do have some shooting things that they do on their own. And then we record them, because I think the more you hold them accountable for the numbers, the more you're aware of whether they should be shooting early in the shot clock or not early in the shot clock. But it's also important to make it competitive. That's why we always do those foul shooting drills. The reason I do the thing where you have to find out how many letters are in your first and last name is because, as we all know as coaches, at the end of the game and you go into that last 30-second timeout, you want to know they're listening. So what this does is it forces someone to be a leader. How many of you have? First of all, you got to gather your thoughts by yourself and figure out what you have to do. And then somebody's got to make sure you're in the correct order in that line. It goes from most letters to least, and if it's a tie, the taller one goes first. So this way, you're in an organized fashion, and I just made that up into the foul shooting drills just because when they're tired at the end of practice, they have to think. And like I said, we have other foul shooting drills. Some are with conditioning, some are without conditioning. It's a feel and a call from you based on how your practice is going. But we were #1 in the conference and 2nd in the nation in foul shooting. So I think that the fact that we have a good balance of doing some quick, repetitive foul shooting and some pressure foul shooting, I think helps a great deal with us. The next thing I wanted to go into was one of the questions that was asked for me was, how, as an assistant coach, do you find a voice as a young assistant? I got to go way back trying to think about that, because I remember I played at Villanova and then I went to St. Joe's, and that's like, you know, that's an unbelievable rivalry for those that are on the call. You can certainly understand that. And now you're 1 year older than some of those kids, and you're nervous. And so a lot of it was just kind of learning, you know, like I tried to be a sponge, you know, to be a sponge that first year and try to take it all in. But one thing I heard the other day, I was on a call with one of the assistant coaches in the NBA. I wrote this down. I said, anticipate needs. I thought that was interesting. Don't wait around to be told what to do. I mean, there's some things that are obvious, you know, that you can see that, hey, I can help in this area, and some that aren't. I think the one thing I've been super impressed about our new staff. I mean, I obviously have an unbelievable staff, but I have some young ones, you know, some new ones that came in. And the thing that I really love is how quick they are to accomplish the tasks that we give them. And then they're always saying, how can I help? What can I do? You know, whether it's taking a kid down to the doctor, whether it's, you know, walking a kid to maybe to psychological services or whatever it may be, is be the first one to offer your services, especially in situations in which it doesn't really take you, you know, having any basketball skills. The other thing I would suggest is stay hungry. You know, all of you on this call are obviously hungry coaches. We are too, because we want to share. So stay hungry and look for new ideas. I love when my assistants are sending me videos and saying, hey, coach, what do you think about this? And I love that. And I'm open-minded, and I'm always wanting to learn. Also, don't be offended if they don't take your idea. It's not that it wasn't a good idea, because I'll always say to coaches, I want to learn ideas. And I may say to them, right now, that's not what we need. Or, you know, hey, we're going to add that, but we're going to add it this way. So constantly challenge your coach with new ideas, new drills, new thoughts of ways to do things. Sometimes I'll have in my mind what to do, and then we'll sit around as a staff and somebody else throw an idea. I'm like, oh, that's even better. I love that idea even better. So be open-minded for all the head coaches out there. Be open-minded that your way is not the only way. I was stubborn as a young head coach, and I think that held me back because I was insecure and trying to learn. But now, as I've gotten older, I'm much more open-minded to hearing new ideas and absolutely want to share new ideas. It's everything we do, we stole from someone else. Let's be honest. No, you know, we're not going to reinvent the game. It's just a matter of right now just sharing ideas and kind of tweaking to what we feel works for us. The other thing I would suggest, and this is the one reason I love the staff being on here, and one person that you won't see is Abigail Corning. Abigail is our Dobo. And Abigail played for us and was the MVP in the A10 championship, and also was a coach for us in 19 when we won it. And there's people behind the scenes. And one of the things Abigail came up to me, she goes, Coach, can I do something in the morning? It's not mandatory. You just ask the kids, you know, donuts with the Dobo. And I thought, wow, that's such a cool idea. Like, think outside the box. I tried to, as you can see, I think it's so important that you engage your staff, and I'll talk about that later. I try to allow them as many opportunities within the rules that we can for them to have a voice with the players. Every coach has a player on their academic team. That's something we started. So we have a lot of creative things that we do because I think it's so important that your players feel that you've empowered the assistants and the assistants feel they have that relationship. So if you can think outside the box, Sonia is another one that said, hey, coach, can I take over meeting with the captains to help them be leaders? Great idea. Sure, that's super. That takes something off of my plate. Even though I do meet with the captains, it's somebody else that's engaging in a different way and giving them different ideas. So I think these are all great ideas to go by. We're going to go into now our next speaker, and our next speaker is Candace Green. Now, Candace came to us from Colgate, was an all-star at Colgate, was a great academic, student athlete, went into the pre-med field and is now in coaching. I know Bill's on the call. He's done a fantastic job with her, and he's done a fantastic job with Colgate. So I'm going to hand it over to Candace. She's going to talk about some of the early drills we do in practice.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate the words. Hey, Bill. Let me just share my screen here, guys. Ooh, look at me. Oh, I'm doing it. Yes. Okay. Oh, all right. Round 2. Oh, man. How many people we have here? 150? All right. Let me not mess this up. But like Coach said, guys, I'm going to come in and talk about some of the starting drills we like to get going with practice. Just to give you guys some background on how we do like to start. Sometimes we will start in like stations where, we're going over some kind of emphasis, whether it be rebounding, one-on-one, ball screen defense, something we're just trying to cover. Maybe last game we couldn't make a shot. We'll go into shooting drills. But whether or not we start in stations, we'll always go into this first block of drills. And during this first block, we really want to focus in on, finishing, decision-making, passing, and then kind of finish up with a 5-on-5 drill or one of the foul shooting drills Coach Allie went over. So let's get into this. Our first drill here is going to be our Laker layup drill. Coach Val brought this to our team this past year, and, we really like it because we feel like it hits a lot of points of emphasis for us. I mean, first, it's a conditioning drill for sure. And it's definitely one of those drills where everybody's got to be focused and on point because, it could get really frustrating when people aren't paying attention. So the setup here is you're going to need 4 cones and you're going to need two lines at half court and somebody taking the ball out. All right. So we got our cones here at the hash mark and we got our other 2 cones in the corner. So our object of this drill is we want to make 20 layups in 2 minutes. And that count can get restarted anytime we miss a layup. We don't get the ball right out of the net and we let it bounce. We're not talking, we're not sprinting, any kind of thing you guys deem to be important, we'll restart them, but we will keep that clock where it is. We won't reset that clock to 2 minutes. It'll stay at where it is and they have that time to make the 20 makes. Now, first thing is we're going to start with right hand layups here for this one. So that 5 player there is going to sprint in for a layup. That 2 player on the other side will come in for the rebound. And then that 1 player is going to be making the inbounds pass to the 5. Now, after that 5 player shoots that layup, she's going to come around these cones and come to the rebounding line. That 1 player that just made the pass is going to come around to the shooting line. And the person that just got the rebound is now going to be taking the ball out of bounds. So after that, it just becomes continuous. I have a video here for us where you can take a look. So sprinting in, layup, repeat. Here he misses the shot. So for us, we would reset the score, but they would have whatever time's left, whether it be a minute 45 or a minute 30, that's all they got. And one of the key things we're really trying to focus here is just timing. We don't want that person coming into the layup too early and waiting, and vice versa. We don't want that person out of bounds standing there waiting. We want this fluid. We want this continuous, and we definitely want it fast and a lot of communication and a lot of talk. All right, guys. So our next drill here is our 5-man weave. And I know probably everybody here wants some kind of version of it, but this is one of our favorites. And I think one of the reasons why we do such a great job of taking care of the ball is because we try to every day do some kind of passing or decision-making drill, and really, really make sure we emphasize it. So I don't have a PDF for this one, so we're gonna have to bear with me. I got the film. So it's gonna start with 5 players on the baseline, and these girls are gonna weave all the way down the court until we get a layup. Now, big key here is we wanna pay attention to who made the pass and who made the layup, because those 2 girls are gonna be running back on defense, and then the other 3 are gonna be on offense, gonna be a nice 3-on-2. Now, same kind of pattern, person that takes the shot, she's getting back on defense, and those 2 defenders are coming down 2-on-1 on offense. Now she gets back, she just made the shot, and now we're finishing the drill out with a 1-on-1 on the way back. So here I'll run through it without any stopping. But we're trying to be crisp. We're saying names. We're making good passes. We're sprinting the floor. Offensively, we're attacking hard. We don't want any deflections, and we want to limit the amount of passes we make. And, you know, defensively, we want to be covering a lot of ground, moving on that pass, 2-on-1. We got to be stunting at the ball, making them try to pick it up, maybe fumble it. And then 1-on-1, we'd like for the player to pick them up at the 3-point line, but I think Kiki here is playing personnel and kind of backs up a little bit and has a nice block here. All right, guys. So our next drill here is our 2-on-2 chase drill. Kind of in the next progression of how we do things. You know, that drill previously was a disadvantage drill, but it's a permanent disadvantage. There's no other defender coming in. And for this one, it writes itself. It eventually becomes 2-on-2. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a video for this one, but hopefully this graph can kind of show you guys what we're trying to do. So the setup is we just need 2 offensive players at the elbows, or, you know, a little bit extended. And then we need 1 defender at the 3-point line, and that other defender kind of at the logo, maybe a little further back if you want to give the offense more of an advantage, or a little closer if you want to give the defense a little bit more an advantage. And then play is live once we yell go. So they're going down 2-on-1, eventually into 2-on-2. Now, offensively, you know, we're really trying to preach here, being aggressive, attacking. We want to take advantage of the 2-on-1. But on the flip side, we want to be wary. We don't want to just force a shot and try to make something happen that's not there. You have to be aware of that defender coming in weak side. And, you know, we're not going to settle just for a shot. We want a good shot. And, you know, defensively, kind of similar to the previous drill, we're just trying to buy our other defender time so we can get to that 2-on-2 and, you know, just playing good defense. Next drill I have for you guys, my last drill, I promise, stay with me, is our 4-on-2 to 4-on-4 drill. Kind of like I've been saying, progressing. Now we're getting into more numbers, a little bit more game-like in a sense of 4-on-4. So setup here is we got a coach right at the top of the key with the ball. Then we have 4 offensive players, 2 on the hash, 2 on the other end in the corners or wing area. And then we have 4 defenders, 2 right next to the coach, and then 2 down in a tandem on the other side. And play will start once the coach hits either side's offense with an advanced pass. So here I got a nice little video for everybody. So here you'll see, starts with an advanced pass, and like I said, we're really trying to push it down. Here you'll see Coach Val drive hard. You know, we want that first person with the ball either advancing it or making that read on that back person. Coach Val makes an impossible pass to that layup, and we see the Fusion LeBron doing work. Then we come back 4-on-4, and we're aggressive. We're trying to push in transition. Here we do a great job of engaging the defense and then reversing it to a nice take by Kenny. Defensively, you know, we're really trying to focus on covering this first pass. We believe if we can cover this first pass, we're going to buy time for our teammates to come in and make it 4-on-4. Now, flip side of that, you want to communicate who you have. Here, we kind of mess up a little bit, send 2 to the ball, positioning is a little messed up, and we ended up giving up a layup. But that's the key. We really want to try to make that communication happen, especially at the speed at which they're moving the ball. And then same thing here, pushing that ball in transition hard. Kenny, nice little floater in the middle. Always ending with a rebound. But yeah, guys, that's all I have for everybody. Kind of went through it quick. So any questions, definitely just shoot me a question in the Q&A. And everybody enjoy the rest of their week. Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm back. I want to give a shout out to Coach Ange. I know you're out there with Lauren. Lauren was part of our championship team, coaching with Coach Ange now. Ange did an incredible job at FDU this year. I'm super, super proud of her. Then we got Denise Dillon, who played at Villanova, is in the Big Five Hall of Fame. Villanova Hall of Fame is now the new coach of Villanova. I couldn't be more excited. Not only is Denise an outstanding coach, but anybody that knows her knows she's an even better person. And then we got Amy Mallon, my little hard-headed Amy. Amy played for me all 4 years, and now she's the head coach at Drexel. I am so excited for her because she has worked alongside Denise for a long time. They've had so much success at Drexel. I have no doubt that she's going to continue that, which kind of moves us into our next thing. One of my other former assistants, Jen Greenwell's on this call, and we're going to talk a little bit about post defense. That was another subject somebody asked me to talk about. And you know what, guys, when I started off as a younger coach, you know, and Sonia is going to talk a little bit about footwork, so many people have all these different tactics. You know, let's be honest, just get the shit done, you know, get to the spot. You know, one of my biggest issues with our team is don't try to play defense after they catch the ball. Try to play defense before they get the ball. So obviously our first goal is to try to front it when the ball's, you know, on the wing or on the baseline, or top side when it's on the elbow. But the reality is it's hard to front, especially when you've got a really, really tough post player. You know, so our ultimate goal is to at very least get around 3/4 bottom side. The reason we go bottom side is we push everything to the sideline. And because we push everything to the sideline, we need that post player to be there because we don't want to be vulnerable on that baseline drive. A couple things I want to go over. You know, really, to be honest, it's like any type of defense. And those that know me know that, you know, I live and breathe defense. That's totally who I am. We're #1 in the conference and, you know, in the top 20 in the country in defense. And it's something we take super pride in. So that's #1 thing it starts. It's you against that person. I tell the kids all the time, everything is competitive. Those drills that you just saw, we keep a number for everything. Every drill we do is competitive. There's a winner and there is a loser. So we try to, after we teach post defense, Sonia's going to go into some of the drills we do, and everything's competitive. Because you can also work on feeding the post as much as post defense, and you can, you know, again, award points according to how they do. But again, I feel like if it's me against that other player, my job is to not let them catch the ball. And if I'm playing, you know, on the wing, my job is either to deny you if we're one pass away, or to make sure you don't get to the basket, or at least get to the middle of the court. Couple other things, positioning. Play defense before they catch the ball. Just don't be lazy and sit behind. Now, maybe sometimes some teams will do that. Everybody has a different way, and I will tell you this. I know Carly, one of my former players who's at Minnesota, is on this call, and when she came in at Monmouth, we had like 9 new players, and everybody did something a different way. There's no right or wrong way. It's whatever way is comfortable with you. So for us, you know, we're a bottom side, try to front and get bottom side. For you might be something different. We also switch a lot on our screens, so we will double the post. You know, we'll double the post when they're on the block. If they're off the block, we're not doubling it, okay? And if they're at mid-post and above, we're not doubling. We're doubling at low block, and we wanted a hard, aggressive double, and then we're going to zone up opposite. Our double comes from opposite. You know, it could be the opposite guard. We try to make it the opposite forward because as a former post player, I think it's hard to go find behind me. I can see in front of me, and I can see here when there's a visual, but it's hard for me to turn and look if I've got a good double on me. So again, big point is playing defense before they catch the ball. One of my kind of just pet peeves is silly fouls in the post, just being lazy and trying to reach from behind. Drives me nuts, because one of the things we try to do is avoid fouls, because I think we, like, for example, in our semifinal game against VCU, we were playing great defense, but we were giving up all kinds of foul shots. We're just giving up silly fouls. So you don't want to negate good defense by having silly fouls. You've got to play good position defense. Don't make, and also for your post players, you better know you have that steal. Because if you go for a steal and you're the last point of defense, you're giving up a layup. So you absolutely have to know. All right, the AH defense, you all might want to know that. Amy was very good at this. Jen Greenville, very good at it. Lauren Holden, very good at it. It's called the asshole defense. All right, so what happens is if you get caught, a small on a big, okay, so here's our post, and I'm in the I have a 6'2" kid, and I got caught on a switch. We're going to go into our asshole defense where we're just going to face that person and distract them as much as possible and make it very difficult for them to focus on the ball. So for that possession, we want to make sure we don't get that small and the big getting too much of an advantage, and you basically just act like an asshole. So I couldn't think of any other term. So sorry, excuse my language, but that's the term we've used, and it has worked well for us. It's been very beneficial for us, and our kids have done a great job at it as well. The other thing that's really important when you're doing that, ball pressure. You know, if you're defending that post, if you stay 3 feet off, you're going to make an easy pass to the post. So you've got to be distracting that post and keeping ball pressure. High-low lob passes. I think one of the big mistakes kids make, and typically it happens from high to low, is if I'm fronting that post or I've got inside position, we go for the steal and we let that kid walk us up the lane and give up that lob. We're not going to allow that. If you're going to walk us up the post, we're going to stay inside towards the bottom, towards the rim. And if you're going to make that lob, we talk about locking in and leaning to get the deflection. We don't want to separate from the offensive player. We want to create contact. I don't think we've gotten called for any fouls with this either. So if that pass comes in, we're going to lock and we're going to lean. And we're not going to separate ourselves when that pass gets made to the post. Really important point. Play the player, not the ball. So I'm going to go to the player and not go for the ball and go for the steal. The same thing on a skip pass, I tell our kids. A lot of times they see that skip and they go for the steal and they usually go for the wrong hand, okay? And now they're out of position. If you know the pass is going there, go to the player and go for the steal. Just a little thing, but something I think little things make a big difference. I know Sonia's going to have some breakdown drills for you, so I'm going to start to move you into Sonia speaking. Again, Sonia came to us from Manhattan. She's in charge of our post players, does a fantastic job teaching them that, has a great knowledge of the game, is a super sponge for the game, and she's going to give you some great feedback of how to defend the post and also some rebounding drills. To you, Sonia.
Hi, Coach. Thank you so much for your kind words. Hi, everybody. Just while I get myself started here, just want to say thank you so much for joining us for part 2. Today, I'm going to just take you through some breakdown drills for post defense and also some rebounding drills. You know, basically for us, rebounding is simple. Defensive rebound is simple. We just say, use your arm bar, hit, step, turn, go get the rebound. Nothing too complicated or anything. So I'll just jump right into it. First drill we have here is one-on-one rebounding. It's a competitive drill, so Maroon is going to go against White. Maroon is going to be at one end on offense, and one player from the White team is going to be on defense. That's down here. And then at the other end, the White team is going to be on offense, and one player from the Maroon team is going to be down here playing defense. The coach is going to be just around this area with the ball. We're going to put 1 minute up on the clock, and the defense has to get 3 rebounds in a row. You got 1 minute to get that completed. Both sides are going to be going at the same time. If the defense gets the rebound at one end before the minute is up, they can go down at the other end and cheer their teammates on. So let's take you through the drill right here. That's 1 rebound. Goes up again. Got a 2nd rebound. And we'll decide how physical we want them to be. And that's her 3rd rebound. Okay, so clearly she has completed that, her 3 rebounds within the 1 minute. So she'll go down at the team will go down at the other end and they'll cheer their teammates on. Once you get your 3 rebounds in a row, before the time is up, you get 1 point. And then once everybody goes through the rotation, whoever has the most points when the whole rotation is done, then they're the winners. Next drill we're gonna move on to is 3-on-3 rotational drill. Again, this is a competitive, so we're split up the teams, maroon versus white. We have either players or coaches on the outside who are gonna be passing the ball around. Offensive players outside the key, 3, 4, and 5, they're stationary until the ball is shot. And then 3, 4, and 5, they're on defense. So as the ball is passed around the perimeter, we'll be saying rotate, and they're gonna be rotating, rotating, rotating. And usually we pass it around on the perimeter for about 2, 3 passes, and then we shoot the ball. So each team is gonna have 2 minutes on defense, and then we'll switch it over. Offense will get 2 points for an offensive rebound, and defense will get 1 point for a defensive rebound. And we usually play this with a lid on the basket. So here, let's take a look at the drill. Here it is, passing around, rotate, rotate, it goes up, shot. She gets the rebound, so that's 1 point. And again, we'll decide how aggressive we want them to play. If we allow them to, go over the back and get a rebound, that kind of stuff. But, we try to keep it clean because we don't want anybody picking up bad habits. Next drill is our 4-on-4 touch and go. So this also is again, maroon versus white. Our maroon defender is going to start. Maroon is going to start on the block on defense, extended. White is going to start free throw line extended on offense. Both teams are going to move on the whistle. The coach is going to be right at the elbow with the ball, getting ready to shoot. Once the whistle is blown, the white team is going to step outside the three-point line, touch outside the three-point line with their foot, and then sprint in for the rebound. At the same time, the maroon defense is going to touch the baseline, and they have to come back in, find the white offense, box out, and get the rebound. All right, here we go. I'll show you guys a clip of it. They touch, they go in. Touch again and go in. Offense gets the rebound, so that'll be 1 point for the offensive board. And I should point out, after each shot, we rotate positions. So here we go again. Shot goes up. And once everybody plays one of the spots, each spot, we'll switch over, and now the white team will become defense. Next is Mississippi State rebound. This is one of our team's favorite drills. Again, we do this drill mostly against our scout team. So it's maroon versus our scout team, who's here on the right, S1, 2, and 4. You can put 5 minutes on the clock, and whoever has the most points at the end of the 5 minutes, they're the winners. Or usually we play to a certain score. We play to 25. So the drill goes where we have a shooter outside the three-point line. We have a player on the elbow, and we have a player on the block. And the scout team is set up the same. The drill is started with the coach passing the ball to S1. When coach passes the ball to S1, the 2-player has to go to S1 and contest the shot. However, S2 is setting a screen, so she has to get out and contest the shot, but she also has to avoid the screen. And when the shot goes up, 4 has to box out S4, and 1 has to box out S2. And once we secure that rebound, we'll switch where the ball will go to the maroon team, and S1, the scout team will do the same thing, close out, contest, box out, that kind of stuff. So let's take a look at it. That's just a variation. So here we go, pass to the scout team, shoot, box out, rebound. So they got that rebound, shoot, she scored. So one thing in this drill I forgot to say is 2s are 2s, 3s are 3s. If the offense gets a rebound, that's 2 points. Plus they get the opportunity to play it out. And if they get a score, they get a 2 or 3, depending on what that is. Usually on an offensive rebound, we'll reset the shot clock to 20 seconds on an offensive rebound just to simulate, game situation. So here now we switch to the other side. Scout team shot, they got a rebound, 2 points. He scored, so that's 4 points that they just got on that possession. That's one of our team's favorite drills. They get really competitive, and they really get after it. All right, next we're gonna talk a little bit about offensive rebounding, technique and footwork. For us on strong side, when you're posting up on the ball side, we teach 2 moves, the spin move or the swim move. So we usually break it down. Here we'll go over those moves. On the spin move, you're posting up, low athletic stance, shot goes up, you just spin to the inside and drive the defense back, grab the rebound. Next, we go to the spin move. You want to face the defense, step through and swing that arm through, get in a low athletic stance and drive them back. And we also tell our players, if you can't grab the rebound, at least get a tip out so that the guards can chase it down. Now we go to the block and we did all that footwork. We're going to translate it here on the block. So we go right into the spin move. He spins around, get on the inside. Now we go to the swim move. He faces up, step through, drive that hand through, and get on the inside. One more time. Shot goes up, spin, swim move, get inside. All right, next we go to just a simple drill we call the bust through drill. We have 2 people on defense here with pads. Usually we pull this drill out if we're going against a team that have a lot of shot blockers and they like to just block everything, get off their feet. So we'll work on grabbing the offensive rebound, going one-on-one, stopping off 2 feet, shot faking, and scoring. So she'll bust through. She get the offensive rebound. Now she's going one-on-one against our tall guy who's like 6'6". Stop off 2 feet, up fake, and scores. She busts through. She gets it. Now she's playing one-on-one. Usually when the coaches are the ones holding the pad, we beat them up a little bit more. We're a little more aggressive. This day we were just coming off of a nice win. All right, just to talk a little bit about offensive rebounding from a team concept. This one is the triangle. Usually this is the traditional team boxing out where you want to form a triangle on your box out. So you have 1 person, 5 here on the block, 3 comes in on that block, and then 4 comes in and they form that triangle for boxing out. 2 that shoots the ball that just get back, and 1 will just clean up anything long. Then we move over to the weak. Weak, basically, you're just flooding the weak side. So strong side block will curl around underneath the basket, and 4, 3, and 5 are just flooding the weak side because you're saying 7 out of 10 times the ball probably will come off on the weak side. Usually this is seen a lot more in the men's game. And then on this side, we got the abandonment concept. This is usually where you'll say, I'm sending my best rebounder to the rim, and then 4 players are getting back. You see this, or you'll say also, shot goes up, all 5 players are going back. This is seen more in the NBA. So, it's just basically a preference what you put premium on if you're more concerned with stopping transition defense, or if you want to get more shot opportunities on offense. All right, now we go right into post defense. We talk a lot about X-step. For us, we start when the ball is here. Coach mentioned we're up and on the line. Ball is passed to the wing. Now, what we do here is dependent. If she's up above the free throw line extended, she's on the top side. If she's below the free throw line extended, we'll say we want her to get her wrong in front, sit on that thigh, and drive her back. Go low side, ball goes to the corner, she goes low side, comes back, she goes back to the top side. Again, if it goes high-low, we want to lock and lean. We want to play the player, not the ball. We swing to the side. Now with the X step, we want her to step through with her inside foot. So she's stepping through with her inside foot and get her onto the low side. Goes back. And she's working. And she's going against a 6'4" kid. She's our 4 player. Obviously, she's a guard. Next, we'll do the breakdown drills for the drop drill that coach was talking about. A ball is up. This is our 6'4" kid, so we don't want her to X step. She can get around to either side for us. So ball on the wing, this is vitally important. Ball pressure is key to everything. It takes away a direct pass into the post, and it buys our post player time to get around to the low side or to the high side, wherever we want it to go. We also say we want 5 people guarding the ball. So these 3 are going to build a wall, and then we have the other 2 in help side, helping out. So she's getting around. On the flight of the ball, she drops bottom side in between the player and the basket. Now, what she does depends on what the passer is. If the passer is a scorer, We want her top foot to be a permanent pivot foot, and we want to move her left foot towards the ball, just jabbing a little bit, stunting, bluffing a little bit. If she is not a shooter, if the passer is not a shooter, then she can drop a whole lot more, and she can do, you know, on the dribble, she can go in and she can dig in. We always tell them, don't slap down on the dig in. We want them to flip up because we don't want to pick up stupid fouls. And the ball goes in when they start to dribble. We want our guards to come down and crowd it. One more time. Here again, she goes around the low side. Again, ball pressure, hands are up. This is good. When the ball goes into the post too, good. Now, a couple things we can do too with this, depending on who this person is. If this is a good passer, yeah, we'll say, you know, wait till they dribble it. If this is a not so good shooter and she cuts through, what we'll do is we'll go with her till she gets like a little bit into the key, and then we'll snap back and just double. That's one of the things we can do there too as well. And once we snap back and we double, you know, everybody's gonna rotate. We'll say if they put it on the floor, we're going after it. If he turns baseline, it's an all out. We're going for the steal. Once he turns it back and going baseline, and that's a indicator that everybody has to rotate over. All right, this is just another post drill that that I included in. You know, you guys can take a look at it. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to give me a call. This is my information. If you have any questions, drop them in the Dropbox and the question and answers box, and I'll be happy to answer them too as well. So that's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much again. Appreciate it.
Sonia, awesome job. You can see Britt is enjoying himself over here. Also, guys, a couple things. I got some former players and coaches on this call already. Shout out. Anita, shout out. Robin Bostic, part of Philly Freedom, along with Amy and Denise. Ellen. Hi, Ellen, mother of 10 kids. How she does that, I don't know. Carly Tebow in Minnesota. Jessie Frazier. Jenna Cosgrove, obviously Ange and Lauren, and of course Sunny with her new little baby. So trying to acknowledge some of the people I know are on the call. If I missed you, I'm sorry. I don't know who everybody that's on the call. But the one thing I kind of wanted to segue into now, guys, was just talking about practice planning and preparation was another thing that was brought to my attention. Again, I learned a great deal during my years about that. In the first couple of years that I started, I tried to do way too much, and I really didn't go around it correctly. You know, what I mean by that is, say we were going to do 3-on-2, 2-on-1. It's like, all right, we're going to do it until we get it right. Well, that might take up 30 minutes of your practice. So what I learned is less is more. You know, if a coach brings a new idea for an offense, I'm always thinking defense. If I don't feel it's something that is something that will help us, I acknowledge the fact that I love the fact that they're thinking creatively, but I don't want to add more to the kids' plates offensively. I want to kind of keep less is more because we already have a lot of sets. But I think the important thing is everything should have a goal, and everything should either have a time or a number that you're doing. And then there's a consequence afterwards. If you make the goal, great. Acknowledge that. That's really important. Speaking of acknowledgement, the one thing I have here is, this is Manu Ginobili's shoe. My oldest son worked for the Spurs for 5 years, and then our middle son is working for Miami Heat, and our youngest son is playing at the University of Richmond. So as a mom, I feel good that Frank and I kind of opened them up to the door of basketball, and they've all enjoyed that. So I'm happy about that. But here's an idea for you, whether you're in high school or in college. You know, whether it's a shoe, maybe it's a jersey. When you see somebody do something kind of unique and special, have them sign the jersey, have them sign the shoe. Maybe it's a picture, maybe it's a poster. And maybe the kid at the end of the year that has the most signatures gets that. You know, I just think the more you acknowledge and reward them, I think the more you create positive energy. And we had a couple kids sign the shoe, and they were super excited. It's very random that you sign that shoe. Manu Ginobili was a different type of player all over the place. Maybe it's Dennis Rodman. I looked at a clip on some of the things he did. It was crazy, his energy and as far as the little efforts he made. So within practice, try to do something that's creative like that. Again, I encourage you to be flexible and know your team. Foul shooting, great example. end of practice, you know the kids are dying, and someone, maybe a couple kids walked off injured. That's not a time to do a running foul shooting drill. That's a time to do a jog foul shot. That's a time to do a foul shooting drill that doesn't entail running. Use common sense. Use common sense. I think that is so important. You have to know your team. I know for myself, as I've gotten older, I've empowered the players more. So, after practice, or maybe when we're on the road, and I might say, hey, what do you guys think about a certain drill? I'll be like, Coach, man, we're just so tired right now, whatever the reason may be. Only ask their input if you really want it. There might be a certain day that you have to get something done and you have to stay with your plan. But if there's a situation that allows for their input, let them be empowered. Let them be empowered. They love that. Those that were on the last time, we shared the Cheney chart. Oh, Frank, you can grab the wheel of defense, but we showed the Cheney chart. Frank, can you grab that wheel? And our wheel, we have a literal wheel of defense. So we track everything in practice. I know in high school, that might not be easy, but if you have at least one person, maybe you track the things that are most important to you. So what we do is, when we track everything, if you get positive, you're done for the day, and your name is on the wall down the locker room. We keep track of how many numbers. Thank you, Frank. This is my husband, Frank. This is our wheel of defense. Our captains come up with what they want on the wheel. So you can see conditioning coach means they can choose what they want to do for the sprint that day. Sprint saver means at the end of practice and we have a sprint, they can use a sprint saver. Drill sergeant, they may want to change the drill. 5 points on Cheney chart, that means every player on the team gets an additional 5 points. This has been a great motivator. People ask, why are you guys always so good in defense? Well, you know what? Accountability. We make them accountable for everything they do. If you expect them to do something, you have to demand them to do something. So this is something that we feel that, that's my nose. Great. So we feel that has really paid off for us a great deal. So accountability, and then just to let you know, you have to hit 100 on the Cheney chart to be able to get a spin. We also have a defensive player of the week every week. We keep a defensive Cheney chart because that's our point of emphasis. Our kids love it. We actually give them a sticker. We post it on social media. Anytime we do a spin, we post it on social media. These kids, they freaking love that social media. So any way you can get them out there and get them smiling, and as a team and their team bonding, I think it's super. For us, we've been creative. So when we do the Cheney chart, we can do it 2 ways. At the end of practice, I'll take Sam Clark, unbelievable player for us. Her freshman year, for the first 2 weeks, she was probably minus 20 every day. So she had 20 times sprints after practice. Then as she started to understand that you can't just be lazy and miss layups, she started to understand how she had to get better at it. And of course, as she improved, her numbers improved. And that obviously showed that she was definitely making progress. So also this year, what we played around with, at the end of practice, if the total team is positive, nobody has to run. But if we're in the negative, everybody has to run. So that's something we kind of let the captains, decide on. We empower them with that. Empower your assistants. Like today, as you can see, I have an awesome group. They are so intelligent. They're so well-spoken. And I think if you expect your players to follow them, they have to know that you trust them. So you have to trust in who you hire. That's extremely important. Limit talking too much. This is something, that I think that I got, caught up in as a younger coach, and I think I've gotten better as I've gone along, is kids want to play. They don't want to hear you talk. So do your due diligence and explain the drill or the concept that you're teaching, but then move on. Make everything as much as possible competitive. Keep the players engaged. Super important. I do want to point out in the rebounding drills, you saw in some of the drills, we have the lid. I think that's a great investment. So when we're working on letting them play it out, obviously we don't use the lid, but when we're working specifically on defensive rebounding, we incorporate the lid, because then that way, our coaches are all such great players, everything's going in. So we want to make sure we have some misses. It's important that you have structure. So you have to map out. That's probably takes the most time for me, is mapping out each practice. Don't be upset if you don't get to everything, but get to what you think is important. Like we start every practice off with a couple of the early drills, the passing drills. Then we'll do like a 5-on-5 circle drill where for 5 minutes, we put a score on the clock and we let them go without taking the ball out of bounds. And with like 2.5 minutes to go, whatever the score is, say it's 56-55, we'll say, all right, there's 2:12 to go. Whatever's left on the clock, we're going to play it out now. Both teams have one timeout. Both teams are in the bonus. Describe the plan and let them start to coach themselves. You know, obviously we're going to coach them in certain situations, but there has to be a time you do that. Then after that, we start going into our defensive breakdown, our offensive breakdown, and then we finish with some 5-on-5. Now, we like to bring the squad guys in at least 3 to 4 times a week. We also bring in officials 2 times a week. I think the more we have officials, the more competitive it is, the cleaner it keeps it. You can start to eliminate fouls in early games in the season. So, and the kids really look forward to that aspect of it. I think it's important to not only map out your day, but you have to have your week mapped out, and then your month mapped out, and then your season mapped out. Hey, trust me, you might not go according to plan, but if you say, hey, in week 1 and 2, I want to have this offense in and this defense in, and week 3 and 4, we better be working on our presses and our press offense, and week 5 and 6, we better be in special situations. Whatever your structure is, it has to be structured. You know, I have a 6-week plan, and then, you know, you kind of work backwards on what you want to get in, and you keep track of what you're moving forward with. We typically, we always finish with foul shooting. I think the foul shooting when they're tired is important at the end of practice. So I would say 90% of the time we're finishing with a foul shooting drill. At this point, now our next speakers are going to be Carrie McMahon. Now, Carrie was the Defensive Player of the Year at St. Louis. We knew her as Headband Girl, all right? And when I told the kids, guess who's coming as a coach? Headband Girl. They're like, Headband Girl. She was obviously the best defender in our conference, so she has been an outstanding addition. She's our video coordinator. And also I have Val Naima. Now, Val, I know Amy's on there. Amy gets so mad when I say, hey, Val's the best player ever coached. Amy, you're right there. I mean, Amy averaged a double at 5'9", 5'10", whatever she is. Val played for me at Long Island, but when I took the Monmouth job, she couldn't come with me because it's in conference. So she proceeded to go from the NEC to the SEC and was the 5th leading scorer in the SEC. She was Player of the Year as a freshman in college, not just Rookie of the Year, Player of the Year. So you're going to learn from 2 great coaches, so enjoy what they have to say right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Coach. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We are going to go over some defensive drills. Val and I split it up. Just take you guys through a couple that we do, couple that we love, and just kind of focus on some different things and get creative teaching your defense. So first drill up, this is called the brick pit. The brick pit, you know, it's just your typical one-on-one drill, covers both offensive and defensive concepts. Again, you know, you have your defenders here. You see they're starting underneath the basket at the baseline, and they're just going to pass it out to the offensive player at the top of the key. For the sake of the diagram, I'll just refer to them as the 1 and the 4. So the 1 passes out to the floor and closes out, and the objective in their closeout is to not give up a catch and shoot or an easy catch and rip through situation where the offensive player is getting an easy layup. Now, if offense scores, they stay on offense, and the defender will either go to the brick pit or they have to go to the other basket, and you will see that that's coach's discretion. If defense gets a stop, she becomes the offense, and the offensive player then goes to the end of the line. Offense is allowed only 2 dribbles to score. It teaches players to use their dribbles wisely and create their own shot. I think especially in this day and age, it's really important to, you know, teach offensive players to score with fewer dribbles, and just so that they're not pounding the ball constantly. Defense, play defense without fouling and force a defended shot. So say you play bad defense and you end up going to the brick pit. Defense will go to the brick pit if defense allows an easy catch and shoot after a closeout. You know, there's just no contest giving too much space. Offense gets easily into the paint, easy layup, whether they make or miss the layup. There's a no box out on the first shot or an intentional foul to not give up the layup. They won't go to the brick pit if they contest a good shot or there's good defense that ends with a defensive rebound. So if you do get sent to the brick pit, what you do is the defensive player starts in here for the sake of the diagram. It's the 5. So the 5 starts the drill, and they have to do 4 defensive lane slides with a brick in each hand. Then the 5 has to close out to the left wing, jog back to the center, close out to the top of the key, jog back, and then close out to the right wing as well, jog back again. As soon as this is over, they have to do another 4 defensive lane slides. So I'm going to show you guys 2 videos. One's a close-up just so that you can see a better image. The second one is a player of ours going through the drill full. So here we have one of our players. You can see the bricks in their hand, closing out. And then here's the full drill. So you're going to see our player doing 4 lane slides. Here's her 4th one. She's going to come out in the wing, close out, back pedals back, closing out to the top of the key. Again, focusing on high hands to emphasize that with the bricks. Obviously, not too easy to do. And then she finishes with 4 defensive lane slides again. Next is a pinball drill. And I really like this drill because how many times are you in practice and you're telling your kids, you have to fight through your screen, you got to fight through your screen. But they're just not breaking it down. They're not understanding it. Or the same thing on the offensive end. You got to use your screen. You got to come off tight. This drill does a really good job emphasizing those 2 basics. So you can see on the perimeter here, we have O's. These are just offensive players. They're passing the ball amongst each other. Inside, we have X's on the elbows in the blocks, and these are screeners. They're not allowed to move. They just have to stay stationary, keep 1 foot in the paint. Our offensive player is the 1, our defensive player is X1, and the offensive player is trying to get open and using the X's, which are the screeners, and cutting off of them as hard and as close as she can. X1 is the defender, and she's trying to prevent the offensive player from getting the ball from the O's on the perimeter. So this is a great drill, obviously. Your 1 and your X1, your offensive and defensive players are going to be in there for 30 seconds. Your offensive player gets 1 point for every catch that they complete from the O's on the perimeter. And the defensive player gets 1 point for every deflection or steal that they get in that 30-second time frame. I'm going to show you guys a video of it. It's a shortened segment of it, but it was a really good clip from 2 of our players. So here in the white, we have our offensive player, our maroon players in the maroon. You can see we have coaches, players, and managers out on the perimeter or setting up as screeners. So I'll just let the clip go. You can see offensive players doing a good job coming off tight on those screens. And honestly, maroon's doing a good job too, making it difficult for her. Offensive players got to work a little bit harder. What I really like what Kenny did right there is that she's talking to her offensive players and her passers on the perimeter. Hey, this is where the ball's going. Move it over this way. This is where I'm going to be cutting. I think that's great. Again, just working on that communication. So Kenny in there, our offensive player, she completed 3 passes. It was a great job by her. Next up, we have our tandem drill. Unfortunately, don't have a video of this. Coach starts with the ball up top, and you see we have coach here, coach here, coach here. 2 defenders in the paint lined up in a tandem, and then 2 offensive players out in the corners. So coach starts with the ball up top, and X1, that top defender, is guarding. X1 and X2 have active feet, and they're communicating before the drill even begins. The 2 other coaches guarding the 2 and 3 in the corners, they're kind of playing fake defense. You'll see that in a second. So coach up top starts with the ball. They can initiate the drill by passing to either the 2 or the 3. So in this diagram, coach passes it over to the 2. Coach guarding the 2 goes for a fake steal. And this defender shifts over as 2 is driving baseline, picks her up. X1 is dropping to take help side. When the 2 is stopped by the second defender, they pass back out to the coach. 1 then recovers to the top. X2 then recovers back to help side. And X1 and X2 are a tandem once again. And then the coach then passes to the 3 in the other corner. Again, same thing. Coach goes for the fake steal. She's now out of the drill. 3 dribbles baseline. They have to take at least 1 dribble. X2 steps to the ball. X1 has to drop to help side. And now the drill is live 2-on-2. It's really good. It just focuses on, that drop and recover situation. You lose a defender. All right, help side's got to rotate over, and then someone has to, help the helper. Really great drill for 2-on-2. We're running a little short on time. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. So this drill, last one, 3-on-3 line with line touch drill. So in this drill, there are 3 defenders in the paint and they are numbered. Top defender's 1, middle defender 2, bottom defender is 3. We have 3 offensive players on the perimeter. For the sake of the diagram, it's 4, 2, and 5. We have a coach with the ball underneath the basket. Again, competitive 3-on-3 drill. Coach passes to any of the offensive players out in the perimeter, so 5, 2, or 4. As that pass is being thrown out, the coach calls out a number 1, 2, or 3, and that signals the defender. So top defender's 1, middle defender 2, bottom defender 3. In this diagram, coach passed it out to 4, and she called out the number 3. That 3 player has to sprint out to the sideline, touch the sideline, and then she can re-enter the drill. The offensive player who receives the ball has to take at least 1 dribble and the drill becomes live. As you can see, X2 has to shift over so that she can help that offensive player on the perimeter, and X1 has to drop to help side. From there, X3 has to recover and find the open man. Again, the receiver of the first pass cannot catch and shoot. They have to take at least 1 dribble before shooting or passing. And then I have a quick video. I'm just going to go through one. So you can see here, passed out to the corner. Defense has to shift over. They do a pretty good job rotating here. Unfortunately, foul towards the end. Last video, this one's quick. Again, shifting over. Didn't get the rebound. Nice little nifty pass from our freshman point guard. And Coach Candace goes crazy. But that's what I got for you guys today. Again, thank you so much for getting on our clinic. And if you have any questions, just drop them in the Q&A.
All right. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Coach, as well. I'm sorry. Guys, hang in with me, okay? Just hang in there. We're almost done. Before we even start this, I just wanted to shout out Coach, because I know how blessed we are as assistants to just be under such good leadership and guidance, and also have this platform to share with you. And so without further ado, let's continue this thing. This is a full court closeout that we usually do. This is basically how it is. The team is lined up on the baseline, and usually we put a coach with a ball on both the free elbows and then one at the half court. Basically what it is the first person sprints out, chops feet, high hands. Immediately, as soon as she gets to the coach will sort of do a fake drive going right. So what she does is she slides over to the right here, really emphasizing on that first big step. As soon as she touches the sideline, that change of direction back, we re-emphasize that first big step as well. And then they immediately sprint and do the same thing right to the other side of the baseline. Now, as soon as 2 finishes here, number 3 will go, okay? And then they will go, our entire team goes until they finish this, and then they'll go back down in order to work on both sides. This is just a demo that Nicole was so graciously, she did it 2 days ago, no doubt, and she was dying after this, but I'm really grateful. Here are the closeouts that she's doing, high hands. We're really trying to emphasize staying low on these slides, especially going towards the back end of the court. They really start to raise. And so you really have, every coach in every situation tries to tell them, hey, I need you to stay down, I need you talking. We are talking this entire time, okay? And then once she's done here and the last person goes, then they go back. All right, the next drill is called 3 stops. Basically, what it is defense is on the baseline, offense is on the side here. You have 3 offensive players, 2 on the wing, 1 on the top. There's a defender underneath the rim with the ball, okay? And you will go 3 times one-on-one. What they'll do here, if you move with me with my arrow, is pass out. She closes out immediately. She has an opportunity to get 1 stop. Okay, they go one-on-one right there. You will not stop playing until there's a whistle from the coach, okay? Immediately after that, just to focus on this, the goal is to get 3 in a row in terms of 3 stops in a row. Now, if they don't get 3 stops in a row, they just get back in line, and let's say they did 2 stops. So she goes back in line, and all she has to get next time is 1. So this is what happens after you go one-on-one with number 1, she'll go one-on-one with number 2, and then so on with number 3. This is, so this is Kendall. This is the drill that I'm talking about. She closes out here. we're trying to really emphasize closing out with hands, being active, especially after the closeout, having an active hand, okay? She takes the rebound and then she goes again. This is Jackson, who's in our scout squad, who's a good shooter at times. Sometimes we don't encourage that, him shooting. But, so Kendall, this drill stops as soon as she gets the rebound. Now, because of when Kendall went, she did not stop the first one. So she had 2 stops. All she has to do is go back in line. As soon as it's her turn again, she needs to get 1 more, and then that's it. The goal is for all the defensive players to get 3 stops. All right, the next drill that we'll do is a 3-on-3 plus post baseline closeout. Oh, that's a mouthful. But I know a lot of you have done this drill before, but this one that we do, it just modifies it a bit with a post play inside. Defense is lined up on the baseline here, okay? Offense is lined up on the sideline here. You have 1, 2, 3, and a post player 4 on offense. Defense, you'll have X1, X2, X3, and then X4 will already be with the post play inside. Basically, it's a pass, and close out opposite. X2 passes to X3, and she closes out, if you move with me here, closes out to the middle. X3 immediately passes to 3, and then she closes out opposite, okay? The pass goes from X3 to 3, and then offense passes it. This is the full rotation of it to 1. Okay, mind you, if you're confused with this, don't worry, the packet has everything in it, okay? With the post player that's at the low block, now, if you're a post player, what we try and emphasize is they'll immediately set a UCLA screen for 2. She cuts through, and then after that, she sets a ball screen. What that makes us do is helps us try and communicate more on off screens, you know, off ball screens. So basically what this is here, our defense is lined up here with a post player and their defender. Okay, so let me start this. Passing, we're communicating, we're making good passes. And then there's the ball screen right here. We go straight into it. Okay. Something to take note of. If the post player is not a post, they do not need to set a screen. Or if the post player is a post and has a guard on her, she can immediately post up. Just making sure that we use common sense all the time during these drills. Okay, just not going through the drill itself. And this is an example of going through the drill right here. I'm gonna show you. So Bree catches this ball, right? If your Murph right here is closing out opposite, but she does not see the ball. Immediately, she's supposed to be in help side. She's not in help side. She doesn't see the ball. Kat, who is playing defense on the post player, is sticking like glue to Katie because apparently Katie can dunk. Okay, and so Bree reads that, and Bree attacks the basket. So we would emphasize that, like, all right, I'm gonna need you not to stick to her, okay? So in that way, offense gets an opportunity to really like shake up the defense a bit. Here as well, we close out this way. Bree's denying this pass. So defense has an opportunity to actually get some steals in or move, and so they continue this movement. You know, like, again, like I said, is if you immediately see a mismatch, you can go to it. Okay. So this is the simple version of what I just showed you. This one is just without the post player. So what it is the same thing, pass, 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 and then we're live, okay? Just so that you can see that. That's just the thing. Defense 10 is a competitive drill that we're competitive 5-on-5, 4-on-4, 3-on-3 drill. The focus is on defense, and it rewards defense with posts. So one team will stay on offense the entire time, and the other team on defense until you get the first team to 10, okay? And then what you'll do is you'll switch. Offense goes to defense goes to offense, and then it's whoever gets 10 first. Okay, and at the end of the drill, the team with the biggest margin wins. Okay, so points for defense, if a deflection is 1 point, a stop or a defensive rebound is 2, a steal or a turnover is 2, a charge is 2. With offense, if they foul you, you get a point. Offensive rebound gets a point. Offensive score, if they score 2, it's 2 points. And if offense scores a 3, it's 3 points. So what this basically does is it really helps our team like lock in on the defensive side, because they know they can get points by playing some good defense. Score and stop, hang in with me, is a competitive 5-on-5, 4-on-4, 3-on-3 drill. We do this to first to 3 points wins. The scoring system basically is, you know, you have to score first to start it off, and then you immediately go on defense, and as soon as you get a stop, that's 1 point. Now, if you scored and you go on defense, an offensive rebound and a foul immediately cancels out everything. You have to go and score again, you know. Again, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today. I am really just honored to be here to share all this with you, to be in a good staff and under a great leader. So thanks so much.
All right, just for a few minutes, I was just going to go over kind of the importance of video, especially in our end. And, you know, we're fortunate enough that we have a lot of technology that we have access to. We have, you know, latest and greatest camera system that we just implemented this season. But something that I've noticed, you know, really with players and especially this generation is just how much they prefer video over like handouts. So I know going into next season, my main goal is to have a video playbook of just all of our plays. And then also kind of do the same thing that we did here today, just have video playbook of all of our drills, because kids easily forget that. But, you know, just kind of wanted to share that little tidbit with you. I thought it would be really important. And just the more that you can utilize video, I think the better. You know, kids are always on their phone watching videos. Make a TikTok account with all of your plays in them. Maybe they'll study them a little bit more. But yeah, just wanted to share that with you. Again, thank you guys so much for joining this clinic, and I hope you guys are all staying safe and healthy.
Hey guys, so we're gonna close it up with a couple things. Liad Suez from Israel is on this call. Liad is one of the all-time best players to play at Villanova, and a very dear friend of mine. And congrats on your new baby. She had a new baby, and she actually was in the same club as Jamiris Davis. So I was so thankful that G had somebody over in Israel to take care of her. And those that know, you know, Harry just retired, Denise took over, but you know, they have the videos out with the unstoppable, the unthinkable, the whatever offense. Well, Liad's on the cover of one of those. So she was a terrific player. Also, Phil Roach is on this call. Phil was a manager for us and coaches in high school right now back in the day, but he kind of wandered in to the gym, and my husband took him under his wing, and since then we have been good friends. And I think the point being, guys, is you have to have a mentor. You know, if you want to get into this game or you want to stay in the game, I know there's some coaches on there that I've talked to, and I'm happy to talk to anybody and help guide them in any way I can. I think, you know, I've been fortunate. My mentor has passed away. Dick Bernhardt was actually Harry Peretta's high school coach at Monsignor Bonner. Also, another great one for me was, you know, Pat Summit. You know, Harry and I went down to her house for a couple days in the summer, and I learned so much just being around her. And not even just X's and O's, but how she treated people. That was an unbelievable thing, and how I watched how she engaged with people. And so there's always a way you can learn. I know I'm jumping on calls. Jeremy Thompson does a great job, you know, creating all these calls for us, coaches calls. If anybody's interested, you know, Jeremy, if you could throw your name into the box in your email, because we have calls every Wednesday, coaches calls, and they've been so informative, and Jeremy did a terrific job. And Linda Galbraith. Linda is a Fordham graduate from a long time ago, and she said, well, I'm not a coach. She's dying to see people. She can't get out. She's in Brooklyn. So we miss you, Linda. And of course, my sister Coco, she's with Beth. I want to thank you for nothing, because your best player committed to freaking Notre Dame. Thanks for nothing. No, kidding. We go over Coco's house once a week. And Ursuline was one of the top teams in the state with Lehigh, because I know some of my friends from Lehigh are on there. And Beth and Coco have done a fantastic job there. High school coaches, thank you so much. I mean, I just think that I've said it before, and some of the things I've done, I just think that yourselves and the AAU coaches, people that the parents give a lot of crap to, and you don't get a lot in return. And please just know that your job does not go unnoticed. We're so thankful for the great high school coaches that are out there. I mean, I'm fortunate because one of our players, freshman Sarah Carpel, her mom's a coach, and Sarah came in certainly ready for the game. A couple points I do want to make, you know, just some follow-up points is you saw some of the drills we do. Defense 10 is actually something I made up, because I found that if you go into a drill, even though we're defensive oriented, and you say, all right, guys, you're just going to get points for defense. You have a lull on one end. Offense isn't as sharp. So I figured this way you can work on your offense, and whatever team gets to 10 first, then you switch it. So that way you're accomplishing both. And that's something we incorporated the last couple of years, and I found to be very beneficial. In that 3-on-3 drill with the post that Val showed you, we will rotate every kid at every position. We're a big believer that guards have to play forwards and forwards have to play guards. You need, we switch a lot in our defense, so you need to be prepared to play both. So I think that's important to note as well. And also just common sense, like that, the one with the post. If it's not a post that's there to set a screen, so say it's a guard setting a screen, that's fine. You can dribble her through and bring the post over. You want our kids to start to use common sense. Like Val said, you won't want them to play the drill to play the drill. Instead of reversing the ball, if they see that help defense is glued to their person, you can reject that right away and drive baseline, because that's what's going to happen in the game. So those things are really, really important to note, that don't let them play the drill to play the drill. Let them be creative and read within the drill. I think some people say, do you have a system, or do you run motion? We do both. And I think one thing I've gotten better at is kind of just letting the kids kind of read. The biggest problem is a lot of kids don't know how to read, so you have to teach them how to read. So we break that down. Also, one thing to bring to note, our coaches have created, they did a fantastic job creating a workout, a workout that you don't need to have a hoop. If you have a hoop, there's options for that too, but if you don't, they have a challenge. We also, if you want to email Allie, I created 3 shooting challenges that kind of track how you did in your workout. You need another person with you, whether it's your dad, your sister, your brother, but I found these challenges hold you accountable in your workouts rather than just to go to shoot. Those kids that say they're at the court for 3 hours and really maybe they did a half-hour work. This way you're working hard for maybe 30 to 45 minutes, depending on which challenge you're doing that day. No longer than 45 minutes, which I think the attention span is when you start to lose kids. Which I think the attention span for coaches is you start to lose them at, what are we on? 2:26. So we have 4 minutes left. I don't know if there's any questions that came into the chat room that anybody wants us to cover. But I really, again, want to thank my staff. You can see they're awesome. We laugh a lot. You have to laugh a lot, guys. You got to celebrate the little things. Whether what coaches do, if Candace doesn't wear booty shorts, we celebrate. Yeah, Candy. Or, when my girl Carrie wears her shooting outfit with her flannel and her hat, yeah, Carrie, you get 10 points in the Cheney chart, So we're always celebrating and laughing with each other. We have to be able to laugh with each other. That's a big part of it. Val, you have anything for me for questions? All right, guys. So please know that follow me on Twitter, and follow Fordham Women's Basketball. I'm at Coach Gately. And we have Fordham Women's Basketball. I'm always putting up some creative. This weekend I'll have a very creative one that I'll put up. And I'm always trying to, engage, people and give them different ideas. I want you to make sure you stay healthy and enjoy your time with your families. I want you also to understand that our practices, hopefully, once they happen soon, you're all invited to come at any time. If you ever want to come and have lunch and shoot ideas, we'd love to have you. Got anything, Val?
Biggest things high school kids should work on, Coach?
Biggest thing high school kids should work on, one is passing. I think kids come in, they have no idea on skip passing, no idea on fake a pass to make a pass. I also think the other thing, and we didn't show it today, but we call it our lead pass drill. A lot of times, kids in high school, when they go to make a fast break layup and they have defense a little bit behind them, they have a tendency to rush and just kind of throw up a piece of trash. Stop off 2 feet. If you watch Villanova men, they're phenomenal. Almost, I would say 98% of their shots are off 2 feet. From a defensive end, sprint to the spot. A lot of times kids just run through and they give up easy baskets. We say in transition, if there's a lead by the offense, you're just sprinting to the block, getting to the spot, and force the most difficult shot you can force, but don't give up a leg. So we're going to sprint to the spot. We're not going to worry about the person going to the spot. There are a couple things that I think are really, really important. Got it, Val? All right, guys. So I thank you all. I hope you guys have a great May, and I hope at some point I see you soon. All the best.